Should you quit your job to be a full-time real estate investor? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. And I feel like I am uniquely qualified to answer this question in depth because I did quit my job to become a full-time real estate investor. And I know the pros and I know the cons. And I will say that in almost all cases, it's a terrible idea to quit your job until you are making more money from your real estate on the side than you are from your job. Okay, so let's break this down. Now, my name is Phil Pustiowski. I am a full-time real estate investor, mentor. I have written a best-selling book, How to Be a Real Estate Investor. And I get not this question, but this topic as a question of sorts all the time. Typically, it sounds something along the lines of, the person doesn't want to go back to a job. They want to be a real estate investor full-time, and they're fully committed. I oftentimes hear phrases like, I have to succeed. It has to happen. I have no other choice. I have to make this work. And they literally have no money coming in. They might even be moving in with family so they can keep a roof over their head. And I know what that's like. My story is that after I graduated from college, I got a job, but I didn't like having a job. And so I was young, and I guess at the time I felt like I was invincible. So what I did was I quit my job to be in real estate full-time. But I didn't know what I was doing. And it became a very painful experience once the real world kicked in, and I realized what my parents were trying to tell me, which was, Phil, keep your day job and do real estate on the side. They were right. And if they're watching this video, Mom, Dad, you were right. I was wrong. But I didn't know why they were right. In being the way I was, stubborn, I just said, well, let me give this a shot. Because I didn't have a detailed explanation. They were trying to explain it to me, and other friends tried to as well. But I guess the other thing is I wasn't listening. And so hopefully if you're watching this video, you're listening carefully. I have been on both sides of this. I know what it looks like, so listen carefully. Okay, having a job is a wonderful thing. Did I just say that? Yeah, I did. Having a job is a wonderful thing. Let's talk about why having a job is a wonderful thing. First of all, having a job means you got money coming in. Money coming in. This is a very important part of our society. Very important part of life. Now, a lot of people don't like their jobs. And for the most part, people are attracted to things like becoming a creative real estate investor so they can quit their job. And I understand that. I get that. But before you've reached your level of success, whereby you're making more money as a creative real estate investor than you would as an employee of where you're working, you need to have that money coming in. Because here's what that money coming in does for you. It creates patience. Now, patience is certainly a double-edged sword. If you're too patient, you get nothing done. But in real estate, you have to be patient. Deals don't close right away. They can take up to 30, 60, 90 days sometimes. And if you're flat broke, and this is really critical, if you can't even put food on the table and you have a real estate deal that's about to close, and it's getting shaky and things are going wrong, which does happen in real estate, if you don't have the patience to withstand those ups and downs, you will give away tons of profit just to get a deal closed. That's exactly what will happen. So the agent for the buyer will request some fix-up to be done on the house, and as opposed to negotiating, you're so scared you're not going to make any money, you just give away the farm. It happened to me a lot when I was basically getting out of the homeless world, was I had to just give away tons of profits because I had no other choice. Bad place to be. Terrible negotiation position. So if you're in a position where the money has to come in or you won't feed yourself, it's a terrible negotiating position to be in. So it creates patience. It creates a level of sustainability. And sustainability. And this is a big one in business. So often the biggest mistake people have in business is they give up. So if you can have the sustainability to stick to it, I have a coach that uses the phrase staying power. So that's another way to describe it, would be staying power. You can stick around long enough for for all your labor to be fruitful. Now that brings in this little detail. Perhaps you have been inspired by the founder of Facebook, the founder of Groupon, and other businesses that seem to have had meteoric rising to the top kind of stories. Real estate in most business is not like that. In fact, I think those examples of business are poison to most people because they give a false sense of reality. Business takes a while to get it going right, especially if you want to build it for the long haul. So you have to have sustainability, staying power, patience, and that's what a job gives you. So if you have a job right now, be thankful you have it. There's another part to it, and that's going to be you're able to, I'm going to say, pick it up, put it down. Okay, what's this mean? When you're an employee, you get to go to your job, do your job, and leave. Now, yes, you've got to put up with probably a really obnoxious boss, maybe an ignorant set of executives that run the company incredibly lousy, and you may hate everything about your job. But you get to leave it at the end of the day, in most cases. And that's the benefit of a job. See, when you're the owner, now you have to worry about the jobs of everybody else. You have to worry about the business. You have to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, if you're an employee, you want to worry about the sustainability of the company, but you don't necessarily have a direct power to change that. But as the owner, you have a different set of responsibilities. You have all sorts of things you've got to deal with that you don't have to deal with when you're an employee. So, for example, I am now the boss of a lot of people. And, some people look at that and go, wow, you're so lucky you have all these people that you get to order around all day. Lucky? I got responsibility. I got to make sure they're constantly busy. I've got to make sure that the business is always successful, so they've always got stuff to do. I have to constantly be on the cutting edge of innovation and being able to make sure that the business is rolling smoothly so all those people are taken care of. Being a boss is a huge responsibility. So one of the pros of having a job is less. I'm not saying you have no responsibility, but you have less responsibility because there's not a whole bunch of people that you're having to feed every day necessarily. And again, there are definitely caveats to this. I've met people with jobs who have all the negative, they have none of the pros and all of the cons, right? But for the most part, that's a wonderful difference. So why does that matter to you in real estate investing? It makes all the difference in the world because what it means for you is this. You can do real estate part-time. You absolutely can. Real estate's wonderful, especially residential, not commercial, but residential, because typically the sellers of homes, they are at home and available for the phone calls in the evening times when you're home from work. And also, the buyers usually look at properties on the weekends, typically when somebody with a normal job will be available. So in other words, the beauty is that which is a benefit on the side of having a job, which is you get to pick it up and put it down. When you put down your job, you have the time, and it's actually a good time of day or a good time of the week to actually pick this thing up, which is real estate investing. So the beauty of having a job is that you've got your money coming in, which gives you all sorts of power, patience, sustainability, staying power, and that then allows you to pick up real estate at the times that are not only going to not compete with your job, but are actually going to be beneficial for real estate investing. And so that you can do this slowly over time. And that means you can also educate yourself wisely. The other thing is when you put yourself in a position where you absolutely have to close a deal or the whole entire world's going to fall apart, you put yourself in a position where you don't even allow yourself to think straight and clearly. Because you're in such a, psychologists would call it a fight or flight mode. And that removes creativity completely. That removes your ability to think critically about something because you're in a desperate situation. Which goes back to this right here. When the money's coming in, it brings down the pressure just a little bit so you can think clearly and critically. So if you're in a situation right now where you want to be a full-time real estate investor, but maybe you don't have a job right now and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to go back to a job. I'm going to be a real estate investor. I got news for you. That's going to be a long, hard road for you. Very long, very hard. And that's, again, one of the problems. When I share my story, sometimes I inspire people to want to potentially quit their job because that's what I did. I'm here to tell you that was a big mistake I made. I wouldn't wish that on anybody because that's a very difficult time I went through, and I didn't need to go through it. All I had to have done was kept my day job and done real estate on the side. Now, this is another important point. I want to really highlight this one. I get sometimes the objection from people, and this is what they're going to say. They're going to say, yeah, but Phil, you know, one of the cons of having a job is, ready for this? Not enough time. Might you feel that way? Maybe your job gets in the way of all the real estate investing you'd like to be doing right now. Maybe watching this video and learning more about the subject that is so time consuming that it gets in the way of your job. Have you ever maybe felt like if you just had all day long to do real estate, you'd be successful and your real problem is your job? I get that all the time. I'm about to blow the roof off that objection right here. Here it is. If you don't have enough time, it's a time management issue. Time management issue. Almost always. There are extenuating circumstances, but almost always it's a time management issue. Because, and here's the key, if you can't get deals done on the side while you have a job and you have your family and you have all these other commitments and you're coaching baseball and you're doing this and you're doing that, if you can't find a way to manage your time wisely enough to fit real estate investing in, when you go to full-time, you still won't be successful. Because you'll fill the void of your day. You're going to fill the void of your day with a whole bunch of meaningless stuff that's not productive. And that's the fact, Jack. You will fill up all of that extra time you just gave yourself by becoming a full-time real estate investor. You will take that time and it will be blown on things like business cards and making sure your website looks right and all other sorts of little details which may have absolutely no impact on your income and your wallet. So, not enough time is actually not an excuse. That is part of your education. That's the best part. I love it when somebody has a job when they're first getting started in real estate. It's part of the education to figure out how, let's say for example, you only have between 6 to 8 p.m. and that's Monday through Friday, and then you've got Saturdays because on Sundays you don't work, and so maybe on Saturdays you do like a 10 to 4 or something. That's the beauty. If you have those time constraints, that gives you the ability to train your brain on how to be more efficient. Now, if you want to know the secret to time management, I'll tell it to you. Now, it's not going to be overnight that you're going to implement it, but the secret to time management, are you ready for this? Getting things done. By David Allen. It's a book, and now it's an entire methodology that is extremely popular. The guy is a genius. David Allen developed this method by studying corporate executives and seeing how many of them were so bogged down with so much stuff they weren't getting anything done. So, if you're going to become successful in real estate, there are certain skills you don't even realize that you're going to need to know how to do. You're going to need to become an executive. Because when you're in real estate, you're a business owner. You're an executive. And so you have to delegate and you have to get things done. And this guy has developed the methodology on this. The book, you can get it on Amazon or whatever. And all I can tell you is if you apply the getting things done methodology, you will master time management. And with the little bit of time you have, you'll be productive. And that's the beauty. Once you're productive with a little bit of time, you'll be productive with a lot of time. Does that make sense? So that's the old principle of, you give somebody a little bit and they're resourceful with it, and they'll be more resourceful with a lot. That includes time. It's not just money. That principle applies to time. So if you feel like you don't have enough time right now in a day to get everything done, the problem is your time management system. Getting Things Done by David Allen, it'll revolutionize how you get things done. I mean, a lot of people ask me how I get so many things done. Mentoring an entire nation of students, doing deals all across the country, doing my own deals, having plenty of time for friends and family. How do I get it all done? This right here. That's exactly what I do. I apply it literally to the letter. In fact, I read the book consistently to make sure I'm completely tuned up on exactly how to do it. It's a genius system. And so I invest on the side. I practice exactly what I preach. I invest in my own deals on the side, and I do it for just a couple of hours, not per day, but literally per week. I put in less than 3 to 5 hours, sometimes even less per week on my own deals. The point is, you have enough time. You do. Now, there are going to be some extenuating circumstances. I've heard people say they work from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day, 7 days a week. And if that's you, well, you may want to consider a different job, because that's kind of crazy. That's way too big of hours. But you have the opportunity to be a part-time real estate investor and be a full-time employee and be thankful and proud and happy about it. Having a job ain't all bad. Now, obviously, if your goal is to become full-time into real estate, you're going to have to be consistent. But that's one more beautiful thing. If you don't stick with it for the long term, it wasn't going to be your path anyways. Because if you can't do it on the side for a year, it's probably not going to be your future. Does that make sense? In other words, it's just a passing fad for you. So maybe you do it for 3 weeks or a month. But that's another beautiful thing about doing it on the side, is that you give yourself the testing ground to see if you're still going to be interested in this a month later. Because a lot of people, I mean, they literally they go from one thing to another. It's this, then it's that, then it's this, then it's that. And so this is a wonderful way to put dip your toe in the water, see if you're going to be a part of this business, and if not, great, you move on to something else. But you still got your job. All right, so I was very passionate about this subject. I hope you enjoyed some of the things I shared here, because many of them were things that no one had ever told me before as to why having that job in place was so important for a real estate investor when they're first getting started. But I hope you know now why that is. And this is for the Christians that are watching, or anyone who's spiritual. I get this mostly from the spiritual crowd. They'll say things like, well, Phil, I know God's going to provide for me. Now look, as a Christian myself, I do understand that God is going to provide. But that is the same logic. So quitting your job and focusing on real estate full time when you have absolutely no money coming in and there's no way to be sustainable and make sure deals close, for you to do that, that would be like eating the absolute worst food for you. Bacon, fast food, just cramming it down your system every day for 70 years and then saying, God's going to heal me when you get sick with a heart attack. Does that make sense? It's the same thing. God gave you a brain to make great decisions as well as to build relationships and have advisors share with you wise counsel. This is what I consider wise counsel. Keep your day job, do real estate on the side, do it consistently, get better at time management, do the business slowly, build up your knowledge base, your team, and your skill set so that over time you're doing enough deals that leaving your job is not some big jump, but it's just a natural walking to the next phase of your life. That's the wise counsel. And if you don't have a job right now and you're looking at real estate and you don't have any savings right now, go out there, get a job, get money coming in, and then do the real estate on the side. Now, if you have a ton in savings and you can be fine for the next 2 years, hey, real estate, that might be your calling right now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Phil Pustiowski with FreedomMentor.com. You can grab my free book, How to Be a Real Estate Investor, on my website. you can also watch more of these videos. And hopefully I have gotten through to a few of you who are watching who might be in this situation. Hopefully you're realizing just how valuable and wonderful it can be to have a job, especially when you're first getting started in real estate. All right, well, thanks so much for watching. If you have any thoughts on this matter, comment below. Please comment below, and I love to interact. And if I was wrong in anything and you just completely disagree with me, please debate with me below. Thanks so much for watching.